Do you know the effort it takes and the concentration and commitment it takes to win 70 NBA games in one season? Like, that's locked in every night, going hard, no management, no game management, no load management, none of that. We locked in. That is and to have a whole team do that, it's amazing.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the BW, Barry Wyndham, to my Dustin Rhodes in WCW in 1992. Been watching Super Brawl highlights, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, I was a big Barry Wyndham fan. I'm sorry, I like Barry Wyndham. How you doing today on this Wind Up Wednesday, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well, sir. Doing well. Barry Wyndham. Wow.
Barry Wyndham.
That's a name out of the
Big Barry, big tall Texan, son of Black Jack Mulligan, and the Wyndham family. Mike Rotundo is his brother-in-law, and Bray Wyatt is his son. And oh my goodness! All right. So anyway, on today's Wind Up Wednesday, we're going to talk about the semifinals. We're going to recap the Eastern and Western Conference semifinals, give you a mini conference finals preview, talk about NBA player news and notes, as well as get you ready for the WNBA. But fans, if you've seen my social media clip, I talked about 4 things that you look for in the postseason, and 1 is distraction-free. 2, multiple defenses, especially if you can guard without help. 3, offensive flexibility, because when plan A doesn't work, you better have a plan B, C, and D. And then when secondary players become primary, in other words, shot makers versus shot takers. So as I go and talk about these things, that's the lens I'm talking from. And my partner is also a basketball person. So we're going to start with Boston and Philly. And Mike, Boston is clearly the better team. But Boston's coach is like my new Cliff Kingsbury, because Boston should have won game 1. And this should be over, and they should be moving on. Now, Boston's going to win the series. Okay, they. I'm watching the same thing you are watching. All right,
Kingsbury. Can you let Cliff Kingsbury go, please?
And congrats to Embiid on the MVP. But man, they're not very good. And how's history going to look at Harden, man? What are you thinking about this series? Am I just being mean, or what we got? Because this should not be a series at all.
James Harden is me and James Harden. I don't know what. Was there something else expected? I'm not sure.
Well, after the game 1 win, which should have been a win, but that's another story. Embiid came back game 2. I probably would even play him game 2. But now you playing him, and he's getting outplayed. They're just not better than Boston. So do you think Boston's going to win the series, or does Philly have this mountainous comeback in? And Glenn Rivers is still coaching, by the way.
Cliff Kingsbury, Glenn Rivers, Boston. It's bad, boy. You bad. You're on the roll today. You're on the roll today. But no, I think that Boston is clearly the best team. Like you said, they're good. Leave Cliff Kingsbury out of this. They should.
Did you see that last shot on game 1? That's what you drew up in the huddle.
And Harden is being Harden. He's going to be great sometimes, and he's going to be not so great sometimes. He's like, he's the Dow. He's one of the Dow Jones guys. We got a lot of Dow Jones guys now. That's what the league.
Bull and bear market. Yep.
Yeah, that's what the league have become. The league has become that. There's no consistency. Like, there's no, all right, look, let's lock in the Bulls. Let's lock in. We're going to win 70 games. Do you know the effort it takes and the concentration and commitment it takes to win 70 NBA games in one season? Like, that's locked in every night, going hard, no management, no game management, no load management, none of that. We locked in. That is and to have a whole team do that, it's amazing. Golden State, when you locked in, I don't see guys like that locking in. Definitely not Harden, definitely not. Like, this whole experiment, this Philadelphia thing's it's it. I don't think you bring it back for another year. I think somebody got either Doc go or the players go. You rebuild. You get what you can for Embiid, for Harden. No, I'm serious.
Wow.
Like, who else can you bring in? You tried with old boy sickness up in New Jersey. Now you got summertime highlights of him shooting threes, and then he get on court and can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And the East will get better next year, but as
Why?
you have
How?
said all year,
How's the
te-
East going?
teams are going to draft better. Guys are gonna come back healthy. Teams are gonna make adjustments. I'm trying to sell you. All right, we're just gonna move on to the Miami New York series and get the
Yeah,
East out of the way. So
please.
both teams are evenly matched. The Heat seems to have better basketball players. And Mike, you mentioned something last week. You mentioned something about Julius Randle.
Hmm.
And now that we're seeing Julius Randle play, is he really in the way or
He's in the way.
my goodness, my goodness. So I got Miami winning. So that means we'll have a Miami Boston finals and we get to see if this guy can coach. But do you think the Knicks have enough in them to make it interesting?
No,
They're bad, man.
no. I mean, it depends on the injuries. I mean, Miami, they seem to get hurt, but they seem to come through all the time. They had a monster game last night. Jimmy Butler, just when you think he should not make it happen, somehow they make it happen. Um, but
Spoken coach, man.
he
And Pat
can
Riley sitting in that corner,
like this.
just figuring it out. And it's going to be hard to watch, though. I'm
Man,
trying
that
to
game
watch
that's gonna be ugly. That's gonna be real ugly, uglier than the Heat Knicks game back in the '90s. It's gonna be that ugly.
A lot of missed shots, man. Don't tell me about defense. All right, we're going to move to Denver and Phoenix. And
Oof.
I've told you all year I've liked them. I like them. They were healthy. They just play. We don't hear about them in the clubs. We don't hear about nothing but basketball with these guys.
That's a shot, no, pun intended. Go
But,
ahead.
ooh, I wouldn't even try it. Thank you. I can't even take credit for that.
Yeah.
Denver is clearly the better team,
Yes.
but I got to give you this stat, and I put it on your sheet. The Sun Stars have to be stars every night. Game 1, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant scored 52% of their points. They lost. Game 2, they scored 68% of their points. They lost. Game 3, they scored 71% of their points and they won. You can't sustain that over 4 wins. So no secondary players have stepped up. Who are you blaming for the Phoenix Suns' just sheer ridiculousness of how impotent they've been in terms of going against them? Who do you blame?
I know offensively, Phoenix Suns are as good as anyone else. They can't rebound.
Okay.
They can't rebound.
And then that's Ayton.
And Denver's tougher. Denver rebounds. Everybody gets involved, and the big kid Jokic is better than Ayton. Jokic is better, and then with his skill set and him being a point forward, you pull him out at the top of the key. Now you got Ayton away from the basket. You surround him.
Hey, he's got to guard him straight up. got to guard him.
So you're attacking their weakest defender. Especially, I mean, the boy's tough, man. Jokic. This is the year I think he should have won MVP, and he didn't. To be honest with you, like no, him and Embiid should flop. I think the first one should have went to Embiid that he got. The second one last year that could have went to Giannis, I believe.
Well, my question is with the Suns, with Chris Paul being out, and even if he comes back, I mean,
this is 2023.
What's he gonna do?
Stop.
Ayton's got to play. You ain't right.
Now, how many playoffs has he finished?
It's hard, man.
He got hurt in the bubble. He got hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt last year. He was hurt the year before that.
And they got to depend on the Payne kid, man. So
and that
he's got to.
That's like
Cameron Payne. It's got to do something, and that's just tough. And I'm just looking at their bench, and it's just not going to go well for the Suns. So we wish them well. And I'm sorry, KD, because you and Booker leaving it all out there, and you got no help, man. You got no secondary being primary. But speaking of people who do have secondary being primary, the Lakers and the Warriors. One, LBJ is holding on. He is holding on like LTD singing holding on. And AD is playing better. And Golden State's just quite frankly terrible on the road, man. They don't play well on the road, and this ain't Sacramento, man. LA knows how to play. LA's got 5 guys averaging double figures. Ru Hachimura is shooting 58% from the field and like 80% from the free throw line. So he's shooting like 59 from 2-point range, 57 from 3, and he's hitting like 81% of his free throws. That secondary become primary shot makers versus shot takers. You're kicking it at this guy. This guy's sticking the shot, moving on with his day. But will either team have anything left for Denver? Because this series is going to go 6-7 games.
No, neither one of them will have anything left for Denver. Let's be honest. And when they do, who guards Jokic?
Only Anthony Davis. Are you gonna put Draymond on him if you're the Warriors? Who you gonna?
You can put Draymond on you want, and he'll shoot over his little ass and body him. He's too strong for Draymond. He definitely too strong and too physical for Anthony Davis when he want to be physical. Like now you moving him away from the basket. The Lakers got back in this series because they're not guarding them guys. They got him he playing a one-man zone pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, until they switch, you know, they play one-man zone. So, but somebody got to guard Jokic.
All right. So it looks like unofficially, and obviously we'll talk about it, a Denver-Boston final. And it looks like it's going to be Denver's year to win a title. And God bless Fat Lever and Alex English. So we're going to – hey, I love those guys. I actually – Lafayette Fat Lever was a ball player, man. Okay.
Good play, boy.
All right, fans, we'll be right back. And then segment 2, we'll talk about some NBA player news, including a certain guy from Australia that plays in Brooklyn. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast.
The high school and college academic and athletic landscape is changing. The growing number of college transfers, as well as student athletes being able to profit off the use of their name, image, and likeness, has given student athletes the freedom and power to make life-changing decisions. That is why it is important for student athletes to be properly informed throughout the decision-making process. The difference between success and failure is often measured not by yards, but by inches, and even the most successful coaches and players use outside independent consultants to help improve their decision-making, which improves their results. That is what the CKA Save Project would like to do for student athletes across the country, improve their academic and athletic results. Our academic and athletic consulting services assist student athletes with the college decision-making process. The CKA team of former high school and college coaches can provide student athletes an independent assessment of their academic and athletic skills to assist student athletes in their college decision-making process. Let the CKA team evaluate your academic and athletic ability to assist you in finding the right fit for your academic and athletic career. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast as I dust off old Denver Nuggets. Was Kiki there too? Kiki was Denver Nugget. All right. In segment 2, Mike, if you're Brooklyn, how do you feel about this story? Ben Simmons hopes to play for the Australia national team in this summer's FIBA's World Cup and has been included in the team's initial selection pool. The Brooklyn Nets guard didn't play in the team's final 23 games because of a back injury, and he has been rehabbing. His return to play will be dictated by the progress of that recovery, which has been going well according to sources. Simmons hadn't played for Australia, who won the bronze medal in the Tokyo Olympics in 2013. The Australian coach, Brian Goorjian, said that the team has been in touch with Simmons, and he is optimistic that he'll be able to play, and gameplay opens August 25th. Simmons just played 42 games with the Nets last season and averaged a robust 6.9 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 6.1 assists. Mike, please share your thoughts.
I like to thought his ass went out on that court if I was there. I'd come out there and bring a chair to his ass, tell him sit down.
So you don't want him playing for the
I
Australian
want him to
national
play
team.
now. What you mean you don't want him playing? I do want him playing with the team that's paying him millions of dollars. That's what I want him to do. That's why I pay him millions of dollars. I don't.
Yeah, he's gonna get all that money. Now, see, here's what I'm thinking, and we don't wish injury on anyone, but he's gonna come in the training camp in September and say, "My back is tweaked
because I played." Well, the biggest crook,
and then we start this thing off.
Another crook, yo.
All right, so Mike, the Milwaukee Bucks have fired Coach Mike Budenholzer after being the #1 seed, and he won an NBA title.
Right.
The Bucks won 58 games this past season, earned a #1 seed, but fell to the Heat in 5 games, becoming only the 6th #1 seed in history to lose to an 8 seed. And Coach Bud is just the 4th coach in the past 50 years to lead his team to the best record in the NBA and not return the following season.
No shit.
Joining Mike Brown when he was with the Cavs, Phil Jackson with the Last Dance team, and Pat Riley with the 89-90 Los Angeles Lakers. So people have been questioning his decision-making. We're all coaches. We've all been questioned about it. I question his decision-making. But the Bucks weren't bad.
No.
So, Mike, is this a move you would have made?
I don't think I would have made that move. That sounds like somebody else. Maybe one of my maybe one of them stars complained a little bit. You know, maybe they needed a fall guy. Maybe Giannis thought maybe, I don't see Giannis behaving in that manner, but who knows? But it's and then to see that they talking about trying to get Darvin Ham.
Well, they just said Darvin Ham leave. So his assistants have been doing well. And I'm not going to lie, I'm rooting for Charles Lee to get it. This is a local product. Went to Quincy Orchard High School. Bucknell, if I'm not mistaken. So I know he's a finalist for the Detroit Pistons opening. But if you're going to make a move, hey, man, I'm always going to root for kids from the neighborhood. All right. I probably would have brought him back for another year. But
he deserved that, right?
Not hungry. So, yeah. And they were injured. Giannis was injured, and you got the natural outs of we weren't at our full strength. We got caught at the wrong time.
But you blame the coach.
But, okay. So my name is Luca is in the news this week. The Utah Jazz are in a unique position, Mike. They've got draft picks out the wazoo, and Luca has already said that he's trying to win. And if Mark Cuban can't put a good team together, how's that Kyrie trade working out for you? They're going to need to restock assets, and Utah has assets. So not saying Luka's going to force his way out, but there's a team with some assets that could possibly be in play. What do you think about the Utah Jazz sniffing around, seeing if Luka might be available, sir?
What gets me is didn't Dallas get caught with tampering charges or something? How many times does that happen to them? And now we got somebody openly saying they may be interested in him. Isn't that on the same line as tampering was?
Well, the Utah Jazz has not officially said it. It has been reported that that would be a player, if available in the trade, that they would make strong consideration for putting together the best package. So because other rival teams are looking at the Mavericks like deer on the highway.
Somebody leaked that story then, is what you're telling me.
Possibly.
Yeah. I can see that happening. But yeah, I'm off Luka. I'm off off Luka big time. Like he can't, there's nothing. I'm building a team. He's not that person.
Yeah.
He's not that person. He's had multiple opportunities to show his difference. and he's got injury issues as well. So let's move on.
All right. Finally, in this segment, folks, we didn't mean to wish it, but sometimes the OCP gets you fired before the show comes out. You can ask some college football people that. But Dylan Brooks is not going to get $25 million a year in the free agent market. And he's also going to have to find a new team because, as anticipated, the Memphis Grizzlies have stated that they're not going to bring him back. So at this stage, you got a 14-6 guy. More likely than not, he's going to get $12-13 million annually, and we'll take that money and run to the pay window. But Mike, CBS Sports, and myself have combined a list to potential teams. Get your thoughts on Dylan Brooks' services. Cleveland Cavaliers need some toughness. What do you think?
For what?
Dylan Brooks, could he come in and help solidify Cleveland because the Knicks beat him up, and maybe he can bring a little vinegar?
Is Mitchell still going to be there?
Spada will be there.
No help.
Okay.
Keep moving.
Houston Rockets. Ime Udoka might want a veteran presence with all these young guys. What do you think?
Good landing spot.
Okay. Sacramento Kings. You think Mike Brown can handle Dylan Brooks?
No.
The Indiana Pacers. They are dearth of talent right now, and maybe he can help with the talent.
Did you say dirt?
Dirt. They just don't have a lot of talent.
You said dirt.
Okay. They're not very good.
Okay.
Can he help them?
That's the word we say. They dirt.
Okay.
My father used to say that. Oh, man, they dirt.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So no to Indiana, but they could use him, possibly. What about the Dallas Mavericks? They could use a little.
He would be an improvement for them and the Mavericks, like both. He could. For the Pacers and the Mavericks, yes. What
about the local team, the Washington Wizards? We could use
That's where careers go to die.
The Charlotte Hornets, put him with the ball kid, kicking into him on the wing and him putting up them jumpers. Brick.
Okay.
And hey, you and the Atlanta Hawks deserve each other. Why don't you go there? Hey, you, Trey, rest of those guys.
That's your team. Atlanta Hawks. Yeah.
I think Quinn Snyder can coach him up.
But could he give toughness to the Atlanta? I don't know. I think Atlanta got toughness. I just think they don't have. I'm just not the fan of the point guard being the best scorer on the floor. I'm just not a fan of that. It doesn't happen, and I can't remember a time when someone won a championship that way. Can you think back? As we talk about owners and GMs, and we talk about the history of the game, I don't remember a point guard, i.e. Russell Westbrook, i.e. Dame Lillard, i.e. Trey, i.e. When the dude Kimba was with Charlotte and they made him out it don't happen. Allen Iverson got the furthest.
Yeah, and we saw who was on that team.
Yeah, Allen Iverson got the furthest along, and I just can't see how people still continue to build that way and then want this lack of success. So I mean, they utilize these guys who are flashy and good, and people love him. It's the small guy story. He's not big as everyone. So we're selling that dream to season ticket holders. We're selling a show. We're selling everything but championships.
Yes. All right. So in our final segment, we're going to keep getting you ready for the WNBA season. Looking forward to that, and we'll be right back on the High Coaches Podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Let's keep getting you ready for the WNBA regular season. Mike, I want to get your thoughts on Phoenix. So after spending a few days hanging out with the who's who and the what's jiggers and dressing nice and getting all of these accolades, I'm kind of worried about Brittany Griner, because where we have said in the past, don't tell athletes to shut up and dribble. Right now, I think he should worry about basketball a little more. This has been quite an ordeal, and she's kind of been out in the public, and that's just kind of not her. But she wants to be, out there. She wants to, be a help and an advocate for the people still abroad. What do you think about Brittany and the Phoenix Mercury coming into the season from a basketball standpoint? Because a lot of non-basketball things are kind of getting in the way. What are you thinking?
I think that she should speak out. I think she should be able to tell a story. I think to me, it's beneficial to the growth of the league. I think it's very important. This is what happens because you force people to make decisions that they don't want to make. Like, you got these women going overseas to make more money. When we should be marketing our programs and our skill, we should be marketing the skill of this game to a larger audience. We shouldn't be competing in big arenas, and we should invest more into this program. How do we do that? Let's change how we do some things. Let's get some better TV revenue rights. Let's get better, a larger. Let's put it to a larger network. Not that what they got is not good enough, but she should be telling this story, because if she doesn't tell this story, who's going to be the next one? I'm not excusing anything that happened, and I'm not saying she ain't break the law, and I'm not overlooking that. What I am saying is, I'm glad to see her come out and come out and speak about what happened. I'm glad that I heard her say, "I will never leave U.S. soil again." I'm glad to hear her say, "I was doing it to make a living." Like, those things are important, man.
Yeah. She's going to be as well known as any WNBA player. They're going to be on TV a lot. They're going to be in the media a lot. If you're coaching Phoenix right now, how are you handling it in terms of understanding that there's going to be increased media requests, but you still got to focus in because there's some other teams that got real good in the off season, and Taurasi's 41 now. You're in a win now kind of situation. How would you deal with this? Because it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Taurasi, I didn't know she was that old. Damn.
Yeah, man, she's 41. I think she's the oldest player in the league now. Now the Sue Bird
I would
out.
say so.
Now the Sue Bird's out.
41 is old. 41 is old. But yeah, they still carrying the torch for the league. Taurasi she can play. I think Brittany Griner is accepting it, maybe where she is catapulting the league with the story, the energy, everything she's doing. She's bringing awareness to the whole situation.
All right, man.
And not just her, for all American captives. Like, I think it's very important.
Yes.
Those time overseas and those who went for government work and other things happen. I think it's very important.
Okay. All right. We're going to talk about the LA Sparks. And last season, there was a lot of noise around the LA Sparks, and they made some changes in the offseason. But the Sparks are parting ways with team president Vanessa Shea after nearly a year on the job. Shea was in charge of business operations and was hired last May. Her departure was, quote, mutually agreed upon. She was previously chief revenue officer for the San Diego Wave in the Women's Soccer League. And before that, she worked for AEG. Karen Bryan was hired in January as general manager. Man, we're still talking about management with the Sparks. A lot of stuff has just happened will LA even make the playoffs this year with all it's starting to settle down, I'm hoping. What are you thinking?
I'm worried about the Sparks. I'm completely worried. I don't know what's going on. We just had this same conversation in our last show when we talked about previously about ownership, and some ownership goes out of the way, like the way they make mistakes in doing something. Eric Holman, yeah, okay. It was good that she did that Shay stood up, but how do we solve these issues to make it better for the league itself? Like we gotta get into a point where, or the league does, like the NBA, we know coaches are household names, all right? But and then there's no trouble with what's going on with our businesses. We can't grow the business if we're having business problems and we don't have the right people in operations. All right. So let's improve the hiring process. How do you do that? That's the question. Do you start a management program, management training program? How about that for the WNBA? How about a academy? How about future leaders? That kind of thing. What do you think about that?
Yes, anytime you can invest, and we go back to the word investment, you have to invest in your people, you have to invest in your product, and that's how you're going to reap benefits. And that's how we're going to transition to the Mystics, because Elena Deladon is back. She's 33. She's in her 10th WNBA season. She's played a lot of basketball. They brought in Christy Tolliver, who the NBA has invested in terms of the coaching piece. That's kind of a little bit more of what I like to see. But the Mystics, they're going to have to go against some tough opponents. You have the Aces and all of the work that they did. You had the Liberty, who added Brianna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, and Shaquille Jones on the same team. Man, I might have to go down to the Entertainment Sports Center. Go watch that one. They got a new coach, longtime coach Mike Tebow stepped down, and now his son is in charge, with him still being the general manager. This should be interesting. Yeah, I was paused on that move as well. Not saying that Eric hadn't done his time, not saying he's not qualified, but that's just a little too chummy. That's just a little too chummy for me.
That gives me too much nepotism. It gives me too much mom and pop, like the Washington, like the Wizards. Like I think of the Wizards, I think of mom and pop.
So let's talk some rule changes and get the coaches perspective. Some rule changes, baby. All right. So now in the WNBA, coaches can do challenges. Team will only get one challenge per game, regardless of the result. Challenges can only be triggered in 3 scenarios: a foul called on their own team, an out of bounds call, or a goaltending basket interference call. Mike, I never coached with the challenges. You, I don't think, have either. In order to initiate a challenge, the team must call timeout to do so. Team tries to challenge a play with no timeouts, they'll be given a tech. What do you think about that, man? Challenges.
I like the challenge. Is adding to the game. Like I don't want to see the wrong call be made, and a missed call or whatever it may be. Like somebody shoots a long 2 and they give them 3 and there's an issue. Like I don't want to see that happen. I think if we can correct it, because they make mistakes, but we're not going to correct every mistake.
All right.
We're not. But I like the rule. I like the challenge.
So now they also have transitions, take fouls to improve flow of the game. One of the big changes in the NBA this year was the introduction of the transition, take fouls, and to improve game flow and allow for more exciting moments on fast break. In short, there are now stiffer penalties for players who commit fouls to stop the play. Since it's worked in the NBA, WNBA is following suit. So they will be called based primarily on whether the defender makes a legitimate play or not. What do you think about that, where you just stop the fast break and hold your hand up for a foul? So now they're taking that away, and
you can't do that.
Okay.
I'm glad it does it, and it does increase flow. Hey, maybe you get more women dunkers. I don't know. And which will sell the game, all of that. So
All right. And finally, bench conduct. Yes, I'm all for this. One less noteworthy change is it's now an official rule and penalty regarding bench conduct. It's another item that has just got on my nerves. And players on the bench cannot remain standing for prolonged periods of time. Players and coaches are prohibited from trying to distract opponents. And if a player or coach violate these rules, they'll be assessed a delay of game warning or technical, depending on the severity. Now, let me just say, I am all for the bench popping, doing their little things, doing the little arrows and all of that. All that's fun, fine. But some of y'all Alabama's just talk too much on the bench. And I'm like, man, what do you do? So stand up, pop, yay, 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 and then sit down. Okay, please. Y'all are doing too much for like no reason. So go ahead and pop them. I wish we popped more people and now to keep the game quiet, but referees tend to let people walk all over them. Mike, what do you think about the bench conduct?
Man, please practice your skill about what's going on the court. I hate when we start talking about the benches. Why the hell are we worried about what's going on behind us?
Have you seen some of the bench conduct?
I don't give a shit. I don't care. We trying to sell tickets or not?
Man was on the floor half the time, man.
Is anybody in the way?
Yes,
anybody get tripped?
absolutely.
No.
I've seen plays where guys catch it in the corner, and they're like, "Well, you get your feet off the court."
If I'm paying the entertainer's tax with my motherfucking check, I should be able to entertain a little bit.
Again, don't mind the little this and the wave, and he's hot,
man.
and the stare back.
Everybody ain't ML Carr, bro.
Then sit down.
Everybody don't wave the towel and all, man. These kids, this new gen, let them enjoy it. I don't care.
Again, I didn't say any of that was a problem. And then once the play's done, just sit down to the next play.
It's probably the only time they touch the court. Let them celebrate. We want them to support their team. That's the thing about it.
We do.
Dude, we don't want them sitting on their hands. But come on, man. Be in the game. I like it.
Yes, be in the game. And then sit down. They're standing up the whole time. I'm not letting my players stand up the whole time.
I want to know why we are on live basketball action and the clock is running while any referee is not focused on the floor.
Man, you have seen referees get run into.
Why are you worried about that? How often is it, man? They miss more calls than they get ran into.
Well said. I'm going to ask Robert this. Hey, Robert, tell me what you think about this, man.
Man, I'm not concerned about the bench. The bench ain't doing nothing to me. The bench ain't hurt me.
Well, apparently the WNBA, they're pissed about it, and they made it a tech now, and they're going to look for it. So
you got nothing else to do. They just had to add that. See, you trying to grow your game, and then you're going to put restrictions on it. Like, it's the stupidest thing in the world, man. It's not. Why am I worrying about what happens on the bench? People pay to see them. Some people get enjoyment. The women, some of them, the women's game, you get enjoyment of the whole atmosphere. Like, you want to see your people support people. It's about teamwork. You don't want the guys on the bench to sit there on their hands. Meanwhile, we telling them stay locked into the game.
We're not mad at that. It's the extended 5 minutes of standing.
But what's the extended? I mean, who are they hurting?
Well,
how is that affecting the game?
Let me go back to the rule piece.
I ain't worried about the rules.
That's apparently
a lot of rules that's had to be changed over time wasn't right rules. It's my point.
And they're trying to distract opponents in an unsportsmanlike manner. So I think they're chattering too much.
We're bullying.
All right, we're gonna run away from that.
Stop it. You're making it a softer. We just
on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis. I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and watching the Odd Coaches podcast.
Got 10
we
people on the floor.
We will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.